you doing, guys? Just got back from Tractor Supply. Bought myself four long 5/16 bolts. Got myself a piece of angle iron because today I'm going to add something to my Senior that's not original, but something that I want. A long time ago, I saw a Senior with a little baby toolbox, a little tool bin bolted to the frame right here. It was the coolest thing. I really liked it, and I liked the concept. So that way you could go ahead and throw your starter rope in there. Some guys like to wrap it, loop it through the seat. That's fine. I just want something right there so I could put some stuff in there if I have to. Maybe a couple wrenches, a screwdriver, the starter rope, things of that nature. But I don't want to modify the frame. I'm not drilling the frame. I'm not welding the frame. It ain't happening. So we got to come up with a concept that'll work. But I also first have to get a toolbox. And that toolbox is right here. And what is this toolbox? It is a wheel horse toolbox. It's for like a early 60s, mid 60s tractor that didn't have electric start. It was like a 603, 604, whatever those models were without electric start. It was a rope start only. And this box would sit where the battery would. So you have the engine, you would have the battery, and then like the steering gear would be right behind it. I guess you could order this box and they would put it in where the battery was. This one's in pretty good shape. I mean, yeah, it's rusty, but there's no rot. It's solid. Some of the original paint is still on it, and I plan on mounting it right about here, just so it's out of the foot area, but it's within reach of your hand. And I'm going to leave it a little bit proud above the frame. I'm going to make it parallel with the ground, so it's not going to follow the frame angle. It's going to be straight with the ground. And how I think I'm going to do it is, I got this angle iron here. I'm going to cut a couple pieces of angle iron, and that run from about here to, about here, wherever the front of the box is, okay? Put a piece of angle iron here, put a piece of angle iron on the bottom. I'm going to take the bolts. I'm going to cut them in such a way that when it's on the tractor, you don't see any threads. It's just going to look like a nice bolt. I'll cut the head off, grind it, and then I'm going to weld it to the top of the two pieces of angle iron. So I'll have two bolts going like this, and two bolts underneath the frame going like that. We'll get it all situated. I'll have to drill some holes in the toolbox, and then I got the nuts and the washers. So that way, just on the inside, there'll be just a little bit of the nut. But I want to also cut the threads down, so when I tighten everything up, this is what, basically that's what you'll see. 4 of those inside the toolbox. So I'll have to cut the threads down a little bit too. No big deal. That's simple stuff. So let's go ahead. Let me get some measurements. Let's cut some angle iron and see what happens. Okay, I got the angle iron cut. I used 5 inches. I thought that would be sufficient enough. Went ahead and ground the coating off of the angle iron so I could weld the bolts to it. Fits real nice. This one's going to be butt up right up against the gear case panel. And then this one here is going to be just a hair pushed out. So that way, whoopsie daisy, sorry. That way I can keep it, even, so that way one's right above the other, because we're not working with the angle. Yeah, so we're going to do that next. What I want to do next is I want to take this bolt and I'm going to figure out where I need to cut it. I'm going to leave all the threads in place, but I'm going to, basically what I'm going to do is I think I'll put the washer in the nut, tighten it down, and then that'll give me my measurement so I can cut that right there. And then clean this off and get it ready to be welded. I'm going to weld it right to the top of the angle iron, and then we'll get the box situated to figure out where we're going to drill that. So to set up the length, what I did was I took one of the washers, and I'm using that as the thickness of the box side. And I jammed the nut down. I didn't crank it down super tight, but I cranked it down. And now this is where I'm going to cut it. So that way the bolt doesn't stick over the angle iron, and I can kind of maybe hopefully shape it a little bit so it looks fairly smooth. Maybe I'll even leave it, you know, just cut off straight, because I mean everything else on this thing is, you know, rude and crude. And I think that is going to be the ticket to make it look clean. All right, let me cut one and see how it all looks. Okay, I have the angle iron clean and ready to go. I have the 4 studs ready to go. One of the things I noticed is, see how this right here, there's like a little crotch to the angle iron. When I weld these on, what I need to keep in mind is I need to keep them like right there. So that way, okay, see how this inner line lines up with the back half of the bolt there? Like that. And the reason for that is I want the bolt to be like this on the frame. If I go like this, then threads are going to show. If I just hold it right to the edge like I had it, I should be fine. All right, so let's go ahead and tack these all together, and then we'll get the box situated and drilled. As long as everything lines up, we'll weld everything in real good. So let's get the welder and let's get the tacking. So I got things set up, you know, fairly close. It's not super mint perfect, but it's close enough. Both of the studs, I'm trying to do this without causing everything to come apart. They're 90 degrees. It's what, maybe an 1/8 from the edge. It's an 1/8 from the edge. They're both the same length. This one's at 90. So I'm going to go ahead, set up, and I'm just going to tack the ends together and then get the other one, get that together, then we'll get it test fitted onto the tractor. For a backyard hack, those welds didn't come out too bad. This bracket is done and ready to go. So is this one. Basically, this is what we got. I think that came out pretty clean. Now the threaded part, not a big deal because I'm going to cut those down once I get the box in place. But I got to go get my torpedo level so I can level the box, and then I can make some marks on the box where we're going to drill the first set of holes. In order to start to line it up on the frame where I want it, I went ahead, got my torpedo level. I just situated it in there. I can't do it with one hand and hold the camera at the same time. With the bubble right in the center, I scribed the line. That's the top of the frame. Then I took my bracket and just for quick measurements, just on the outside of each bolt, I made a pencil line. Therefore, I know that I just got to make my holes just on the inside of this, both sides, 5/16 holes. So I'll go ahead and get the 5/16 drill bit. I'm going to drill these 2 holes, and then I'm going to loosely affix it to the frame with this top bracket only. And once I get that situated, I'll get the lower bracket and mark the 2 holes that I need for that. And then hopefully we'll have this loosely bolted on. And there it is. It blends in. Interjection. So in doing this, I realized something. With the square edge, with such a sharp edge here on the frame, and the inside of the angle iron being round, this thing really, this thing wants to rotate a little bit while I tighten it up. So what I'm going to do, and this is not going to be like surgically perfect, but I'm basically going to grind the roundness out with my die grinder. I'm going to go right along and just hog that roundness out to make it a little bit square. So when I put it on the frame, it's not going to rotate when I tighten up the nuts. It'll sit flatter because that corner is riding along until it hits this edge, till the flat edge of the side. So I'm going to go ahead, take the die grinder, grind that down so it's more squared off, and that'll keep it nice and level on the C channel. So after a little bit of grinding with the die grinder and my angle grinder with a sanding disc, I was able to kind of take some of the roundness out of the inside of this angle iron. And when I drop it on the frame now and I try to wiggle it with my thumb, it barely moves. So that's going to be perfect. Both of them are perfectly still, so they're not going to be bending and twisting like it was. I'm going to go ahead, wipe these down, edge prime them, and then I'll hit them with a little Rudy Metal primer. And there it is. I think it looks pretty good. It's there, you can see it, but I don't think it's that evasive. I don't think it looks like a real add-on to the tractor. Pretty clean. Hopefully you agree. I did go ahead and Rudy Metal primer the brackets. I just gave them a light sanding and a buff so that way they match like the rims and the front end, so it's kind of blends in with the rust. The box is rock solid. I mean, you can see I can shake the whole tractor with it, and we can take my stutter rope and throw that in there, throw anything else I want in that little box there, and we're off to the shows, so to speak. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, please come back and we'll do another project on this. We're getting very close to the finish line, finally. And I hope this, it may not be to your particular liking, but I think it's a simple way to add something to the tractor that's non-evasive. I didn't modify the senior, didn't drill any holes. Well, I drilled some holes in the toolbox, but in the tractor itself. It could be taken off instantly if somebody didn't like it. It's not that evasive. It's in a position where it's kind of, hidden, but still visible. All right. Thank you very much as always, guys. Please like, share, and subscribe again. And as always, until the next project, you have a great day.